unable to interact in daily activities due to an illness can really have a negative effect on the individual. In many cases, it can even cause low self-esteem and a struggle to stay positive. This is because, for many people, living with a disease is seen as a weakness, something that prevents us from living a normal life. So, is it possible to find a way to keep our spirits up during such a difficult time? Well, by understanding what you are worth and that a simple disease does not determine the person who you are, can certainly help you have a more positive outlook on the situation. Start seeing the support of your family members and friends as their encouragement throughout this difficult time. Always keep following your doctor's recommendations and start doing things that you know will improve your health. This could be by cutting down on certain foods, alcohol, or cigarettes, and instead start jogging or doing some sort of sport which adapts well to your condition. Always remember that this disease is not a weakness, but rather a challenge that you will overcome.
Good evening to you. Welcome to tonight's program, tonight's Finding Answers. And I would like to start tonight with a question, which I would like you to think about for a moment. If you believe in God, do you believe it's the will of God that every person who has a sickness be healed? You believe in God. There's a large percentage of the population bearing a sickness, an issue, a physical issue, a mental issue. Is it God's will, in your opinion, to heal every disease? Or is it His will to heal some, and for some reason we can't explain, maybe you can't explain, it is not His will to heal others? I would like you to reflect on this question while I bring to you the story of this lady who was struggling with an incurable disease, considered to be incurable by medicine, because the name of her issue was epilepsy. Watch her story, and by the time we come back, I think we have a very interesting show tonight to discuss about this. How do we beat an incurable disease? Is it everyone who can do it? Or just a fraction of the population with some special gift or special faith can actually accomplish it? Think about it as you watch her story.
When I had the medical condition, epilepsy, I was very limited to doing stuff because there were many things that I wanted to achieve in my life, you know, financial goals and many other goals. But because of this health issue, I was not able to achieve it because that was the main thing that was holding me back. Every so often I would go and see a specialist and I would get a scan and they couldn't find anything. And the doctor said that there was no cure for it, there was nothing they could do about it. So even to build a family, I couldn't even do that. And you know, it really affected me, it affected my confidence and every other areas of my life as well. Since coming to the church, I got advice about how to use my faith. I decided to put it to practice and link it to my health. In order for me to move forward in my life and do the things that I want to do, I have to be healed from this condition. But there were times when I felt it coming back. I started feeling the symptoms coming back. And I just didn't accept it. I just kept telling myself, no, I'm not gonna fall into it. I'm not gonna make myself faint. I started fighting with prayers and fighting with my mind, believing that I was healed. As time went by, I no longer had it and I was free from it. When I went back to see the specialist about the situation, I told them that I was healed from it and I told them that I no longer had it. And they were shocked. They were wondering, you know, how was it possible? And from there, I'm able to pursue the career that I want. I'm able to pursue the life that I want. I'm able to enjoy my life with my family. I've got a daughter, and she is in perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with her, and I'm really happy that I could build the family that I want to build, and they're no longer worried about me anymore because of my health condition, and I could say that I'm happy and I'm healed.
So you saw Chanel's story, which is an evidence that to God, through the power of faith, there is no such thing as incurable disease. Everything is curable through the power of faith. I base this upon what the scripture says. It says clearly that all things are possible to those who believe. And the beginning of the answer to the question I just posed, if it's God's will to heal every sick person, has to do with this. She was healed, Chanel, this lady you just saw, because she believed. She developed enough faith to bring healing to her body. You can also learn to do that. But scripturally speaking, if you go through the scriptures, you are not going to find one single example, one single instance when Jesus denied healing to a person. You find people who did not receive healing because they didn't develop a level of faith to conquer the healing. That's right, to conquer. The miracles and the blessings of God need to be conquered. And how do we conquer them? By being a good person, by deserving? No. We conquer them by faith, by believing. Even scientists and doctors who don't believe in God, who are even atheists, they agree that when the patient believes he's going to recover, has a positive attitude towards his issue, he has a much, much, much higher probability of receiving recovery and healing from the one who resigns, from the one who gives up believing, who doesn't believe he's going to get well. Actually, life and death is in the power of words, the words that you believe, the words that you take in. I remember one case that comes to mind of a very famous cyclist, sportsman. His name is Lance Armstrong. Probably you've heard of him too, or maybe even follow his career. At some point, he had testicle cancer, and his attitude towards that, when he got the news, was cancer chose the wrong guy to be in. This is not the end of me. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to fight this. And he went through therapy. He went there through his very difficult ordeal, but he came out as a winner. He overcame, because from the beginning he determined, he decided, I'm not going to die. I'm going to die one day, but not because of this cancer. And he beat it. So there are people, on the other hand, that they don't die when the body goes to the grave. They die the moment they hear the news. When they hear a word, for instance, such as cancer, that's when they die. They hear cancer, they say, okay, I'm dead. That's it. Cancer, there's no one who recovers, even though there are many, but there's the soon, it's the end of them. And if you believe this issue is the end of you, very likely you are choosing your own future, your own outcome. So, to summarize, is it the will of God to heal every single individual? Of course. Because we can't see, God having some kind of pleasure or excitement or trying to teach anything through a sickness. Who does that? I mean, if we human beings, we're full of flaws and imperfections, we wouldn't do that to people we love. I've heard of people even staying away from people they love when they are sick because they do not want it, to spread what they have. But I never heard of someone say, hey, I love you so much that, here, get some of my virus, get some of my, let me contaminate you because I love you so much. We don't don't do that, let alone God. But then again, the healing doesn't depend on God. It depends on the person's faith. I've heard of people who didn't have faith to be healed in the beginning, but they developed the faith. They built up the faith step by step till they got to the level where they were able to fight back. So are you dealing with an incurable disease? Then you can find help and inspiration through finding answers. By the way, we have someone here tonight with a very strong story. Do you know what sarcoma is? It's a type of cancer. And what if you find out that you have this terrible kind of cancer, it's a bone cancer, the day after your wedding? Imagine what a hard blow it is. And how can one bounce from such a terrible predicament and be completely free today? This is what you're going to learn from the story of our live guest here, which we are going to speak to him very soon. But before I go to the live guest, Christy, our producer, she went around asking people in the streets of London if you know, they have a sickness or an issue, if they go to the doctor right away, or if they only go if things get worse. What is your opinion? What would you do? Well, let's see what the people had to say.
Being unwell is something that can really affect our day-to-day life, so seeking for medical assistance is advised in such cases. However, are people most likely to go to the doctors straight away, or do they only go when things get worse? Well, let's see what the public have to say. If you were to get sick, would you go straight to the doctor or deal with it only if it gets worse?
Deal with it if it gets worse. Why? Because I don't want to make a fuss. I'm British. I don't know. Also, it's just a pain, isn't it? It's just stressful going to the doctor.
I think I would go to the doctor if I was like really sick. But if I have a cold, I'd stay at home and wait until it gets worse or go away by itself.
Probably at the beginning I would do it by myself, try to get well, drink some teas, take some medicine, what I suppose could help me. If it gets worse, yeah, then I would go to the doctor.
Yeah, number two, definitely.
Number two, unfortunately, yeah, definitely.
We aren't signed up to doctors, are we?
Yeah, just sit on
6 years.
things. Yeah, just leave it until it gets bad, which is stupid. Don't do that, but yeah, that's what we do.
But why?
Just lazy.
It gets
Just
better.
lazy and reckless.
We're still here, so it's fine.
Yeah.
So you saw there's some interesting opinions, and yeah, I mean, we shouldn't be, you know, going to the doctor just because of the littlest things, but sometimes what is little today, if not taken care of right away, can become something serious tomorrow. So by all means, you're having symptoms and they are not going, they're getting worse. Please don't wait. Don't have that idea. Oh, I'm afraid of going to the doctor because I may find out something that will scare me. Well, you know, it's better to be scared and then be able to do something about it than wait until the point where if I want to do something about it, then it might be actually very, very complicated. I won't say too late, because as I'm saying here, I believe it's never too late if we are alive. But evidently some issues are much easily dealt with when they are discovered at its early state. So if you're dealing with an incurable disease, if you're dealing with cancer, tumor, with something more serious, your health is deteriorating, you don't know what else to do, and you would like to get a prayer, we are going to pray, and not only pray, but we are going to, by faith, you know, determine that the power of God will touch you tonight for you to get well. Do you believe? Do you believe that through the power of God, you can get better, you can get well? So join us. It's going to be towards the end, but we have our advisors standing by to take your call. if you want to speak to one of them, if you want to tell them what's going on, you can call right now. 0207-686-6300 is the number to call. We are live here right now, by the way. You can also send an email to help@findinganswers.tv. help@findinganswers.tv is our email address for this TV show. And you can find previous episodes of Finding Answers on our YouTube channel. You can like our Facebook page. You can find us on the web. So there's different ways that you can interact with Finding Answers and get inspired, find answers. Anyhow, we're going to go to a break now. And by the time we come back, I want to show you the inspiring and strong story of victory over an incurable disease that we brought here for you tonight. After this.
The best top 10 of the week. From the start to the finish, famous artists, surprising videos and the best songs. Which are going to be this week's greatest hits?
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? Wouldn't we all be happier?
Welcome back to Finding Answers. And we're talking about tonight concerning overcoming a disease that might be considered incurable. And I'm preparing here my glass with water. You could also prepare yours because this is what we are going to be blessing for you, agreeing, to energize this water by faith. It is done by faith. If you believe, you do it. If you don't believe, of course, you're not going to do it. But I just came back from our call center and there's people already reaching out to us. So the phone number appears here. If you want prayer, if you're in pain, are you in pain right now? Everything you're taking is not relieving you of the pain and you believe that prayer can help. Wherever you are, if you have access to a phone, give us a call and we have advisors here that can pray for you. Okay, and they can include your name and the name of your loved one in our prayer book. We also, if you have a loved one that is abroad, far away, and you want prayer for this person, you can also call us and tell us their name. Anyhow, we're going to speak now to our live guest, James. And as I was saying in the previous segment, actually he found out he had a cancer in the bone called sarcoma the day before the wedding. It wasn't after, it was one day before. And of course, we all understand how devastating it must have been at the time. But this story doesn't end in a sad way. It didn't end there. It's still ongoing and it's a beautiful story. So I am sure James' statement tonight will inspire you. So let's hear what he has to say.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week. So it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Okay, so James, welcome to Finding Answers, and thanks for coming.
It's okay.
Okay, so tell us about this. I'm curious to find out how was it? You were a pretty healthy guy before, to your best knowledge.
Yes, I was. Yes, very healthy. No major problems I had in my health.
Mm-hmm. And so you met the lady that is now your wife.
Yes.
Still, yeah.
Yes.
And for how long were you dating until the day of the wedding?
I'll say around 3 years. So we were dating for 2-3 years.
How was that period? Was it good?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, I definitely found the person which I could, for the first time, see I could be with for quite a long time, the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So
was she happy with you too?
Yes. We had a really good relationship in the beginning, and now.
So wedding date set.
Yes.
Ceremony, church, reception.
Yes.
Honeymoon.
Yes.
And suddenly, the hard blow comes. How was the news given to you? Do you remember the day for sure?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Tell us how it happened, please.
So I was, a lot was happening. So I got into a new job. So I started a new job, and things were going well. Things were picking up. And I remember whilst being at work, I had a lot of pain in my mouth, in my jaw area. And I thought maybe because I'm speaking a lot over the phone, that maybe this is one of the reasons why I'm feeling this pain. So I initially went to the dentist, and they told me it was a wisdom tooth. They said it was a wisdom tooth problem. So because I've heard friends and people always mentioning that wisdom tooth is very painful, I was thinking, wow, this is extremely painful. They wrongly diagnosed me because it was much more serious than a wisdom tooth. Mm-hmm. The day when I went to take out the wisdom tooth, the dentist, the guy said, "This is not a wisdom tooth. This is a tumor growing in your mouth." And
how could he see? Did he do some kind of X-ray or something? And
he literally looked into my mouth and straight away. Said,
tell.
He could tell. He said, "This is," because he was the expert on the wisdom tooth I'm taking out. And he said, "Your dentist, they've given you the wrong information. This is actually wisdom tooth. This is not wisdom tooth, but instead a tumor that was growing." So
from there, what did you do next?
They referred me to another hospital, and that's where a surgeon who was more of an expert in this type of thing could then go in more detail to see what's happening.
He did a more thorough exam.
Biopsy. So it was, he examined me and realized, okay, this is actually a very big tumor growing in your jaw. And he did an initial, I had a lot of problems because he did an initial biopsy from the outside of my face, which it wasn't good enough. So they needed to put me under general anesthetic and they decided to cut my face from the outside and to attempt to take a sample of my bone from the outside. And this caused a lot of problems because now my skin was cut open and it caused the tumor to push much more further out towards my skin. So every week I was coming back to the hospital and they were saying there's not enough conclusive information to know what exactly is happening. So I was coming back about 3 weeks. And
at the same time that you were getting ready for
my wedding,
your wedding.
So it was very, very tough and a very tough moment because I had to prepare the wedding, I had to prepare the church, the reception.
Your wife to be, how was her reaction to all this? Surprise, you could say, a bad surprise.
Do you know, we were surprised, but at the same time, because of the way it was presented to us, it didn't seem too serious. It seemed like it's a tumor, but you can have a surgery to remove it, and that's it, you can move on with your life.
So you did not really, until up to what you told us now, you didn't really have the idea of how intense, how serious the problem was.
Yes, initially it wasn't so serious. Like, I didn't think it was so serious. Only time I started to think, wow, this is getting serious, is when I noticed it was growing very fast. And the pain was, it was very painful. I was going through a lot of pain. And this is when I knew, okay, this is very serious. And of course, when I kept on going to the hospital and they couldn't give me an answer on exactly what it is, then this is what added to the sort of pressure of, okay, wow, I'm in a serious situation.
I can imagine that it was very unnerving, right? Because you don't know what it is. You know it's something there and it's growing and it's painful and you hear the word tumor, but inconclusive analysis can be very unnerving.
Yes.
I want to make a quick stop here just to address to you, viewer. Listen, maybe this is what's happening to you. No one can tell you what you have. You have gone from specialist to specialist and you're in pain and you see the situation is getting worse. You feel sick. You know you are sick. And they can't put their finger on it. So if this is the case, listen, I guarantee you, prayer does help. Get prayer. Bring God into this, battlefield, could say. Bring God into the situation. Invite Him into your turf, because He's going to be on your side. He's not going to be on the side of the problem. I guarantee you this. God is not going to side with the cancer. He's not going to side with the tumor. He's not going to side with the virus. He's not going to side with the bacteria. He's going to side up with you. He's going to be on your side. He's going to help you. And listen, regardless of religion, if you're watching me and you are a Muslim, you are a Buddhist, you are an evangelical Christian, you are Jewish, you are I don't know, agnostic, you are Baha'i, it doesn't matter your religious belief. If you have no religious belief, maybe you don't even believe in God at all. But the truth is that the problem is there and you're not finding answers. So do you want answers? The point is this. So don't have any prejudice against prayer. Don't turn it down like that. Don't dismiss what we're saying here. Give it a try. Give us a call. Get help, because you will be able to get help. So James, coming back to your story, when were they able to finally tell you exactly what it was?
It was a day before my wedding. A day before my wedding, the surgeon told me it's a sarcoma tumor. Or it's a tumor that's it's called sarcoma. He said, don't worry too much about it. I don't want you to worry. Your wedding's tomorrow. Go and enjoy your wedding. Go for your honeymoon. And in 2 weeks' time, when you're back from your honeymoon, then we can do the surgery to remove it. So that's sort of what happened. And I remember it was a bit of a shock. And I was like, wow, okay. But I said I have to keep positive. And I said, you know what, I'm going to keep positive, but I'm going to have to go through this battle.
Did you know what it was when you heard the word sarcoma?
No.
Never heard that word
Never
before.
Heard of it.
And then did you look it up? Did you try to find out for what it was, or you did not even bother?
If I remember rightly, I think the doctor said, don't even look it up. Just enjoy your wedding, go off on your honeymoon, and then we'll do it when you come back.
Probably because he didn't want this to spoil something that you were planning for 3 years, right?
Exactly.
And everything. So you did get married, you went to your honeymoon.
Yes.
And you came back for the surgery.
On my day of my wedding, we'd done the wedding, and I was in a lot of pain during that day. But even though I was going through so much pain, and the joy of being married, and it was quite interesting because when I was told the day before, I straight away told my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and she said, look, I don't care, whatever it is, we're going to fight this together. Let's enjoy our wedding, and when we come back, we're going to deal with it. And when she was coming down towards the altar towards me, it was quite emotional for me, because I said I would never cry on my day of a wedding, but I found myself tears coming to my eyes, because it was like I knew she already given her vows even before, marrying me officially. So it was a great day, amazing day. We flew off to Egypt, but then within 3 days, the tumor grew 5 times the size. So it grew like extremely fast, and I could feel my windpipe closing up. Then on the 3rd day, I couldn't eat no more. So it was to the point where I can only have liquids, soups. I remember being in Egypt, and I said, I'm going to die. And I felt like I was going to die. And I said, you know what? I need to fly back, because I didn't really want to have to go through a surgery or anything in Egypt. So I paid to fly back to London, and I was transferred to another hospital, and they're the real specialists within the sarcoma.
But your decision was, even though you felt like you're going to die, you said, no, not without a fight.
Exactly.
I'm going to put up a fight. We have to make a brief stop here, because we have to go to a break. Don't go anywhere. By the time we come back, James is going to conclude his story, and you're going to find how he was able to overcome this. I don't want to give in too much. When we come back, you will see.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
Follow My Channel's updates on Facebook. Like your favourite videos and see pictures of your favourite artists. Access our Twitter @MyChannelUK and get to know what's on with My Channel. Visit tvmychannel.com and be connected to our world. My Channel, a whole new world of entertainment.
Virtual expanses, the internet, more and more possibilities and technological innovations.
Saturday, Shift.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. I am tonight here in the presence of a cancer survivor that we are bringing to inspire you who are struggling with cancer or another type of considered incurable or serious disease. James, who is sharing with us his story of success on how he beat cancer. So you had to cut your honeymoon short. Yes. You had to fly back to London. You were supposed, you're telling me off camera, you were supposed to stay in Egypt for your honeymoon for 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yes.
And in 3 days, the tumor grew so fast that you said, if I don't come back now, I'll probably die here. So you came back.
Yes.
And when you came back, what did you go straight to the specialist?
Went to the hospital who specialised with sarcoma.
Right.
And I always remember this day of there was about 5, 6 surgeons, the main surgeon and his whole team sitting in the room, and I explained the biopsy from the outside of my face and flying off to Egypt, and they all started screaming and shouting in the room like, I can't believe this, like, this, do you know this is a cancer? And that was the first time me and my wife looked at each other and said, we never knew it was cancer, we thought it was a tumour. And that's when it hit home. And they said, you know, because the biopsy was done on the outside of the face, this is now, we're going to have to sacrifice a lot of your face because it's now potentially infected a lot of the skin, a lot of the bone and a lot of the tissues on the outside of the face. But they said, because it's growing so much, you may need to do chemotherapy for 6 months, I think it was 6 months, 3 days in hospital, 10 days at home. And I remember being revolted. Like I couldn't accept it. I said no. Like I made a decision, you know, to do things the right way, to get married, and then, you know, during my wedding period, the first, supposed to be the honeymoon period, all of this is happening, and I took it to prayer, and my mentality changed. I said, no, I'm not going to accept this. No, I don't accept being married and having to be in and out of hospital, and then have the major operation, and then having to recover, and by the time it will take up 5 years of my life.
When this happened, when you already, you know, you revolted at the situation and you decided you were going to fight this and even use, you know, faith, right, prayer.
Yes.
You already were, you could say, in the faith, or you had found out previously about the power of faith,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Faith in Jesus, faith in God.
Yes.
So that was like something that actually kick-started his faith to a much higher, it boosted his faith to a much higher, more aggressive, you could say, level, right? As the disease was aggressive, you also got aggressive at the disease, right?
Exactly.
And then what happened?
So I literally was using my faith, and I was really, and my mind became very positive. And the way even my mind was that I thank God, because they said I don't need to do the chemotherapy, that it's now contained. And they said we can just do straight surgery for removing the infected jawbone and replacing it with bone from your leg, fibula from your leg. So my mindset was even I was so much in the faith that, you know what, I even said, you know, God is even going to heal me without the surgery. And that's how my mindset was. But then it was my wife and some advisors who said, look, you have to have faith, and intelligent faith. You need to be, you know, intelligent with your faith and follow what the doctors are saying. So I decided that, you know, let me go through the surgery. And it was a 19-hour surgery, 19 hours. They removed my jaw from there to here, and then they replaced it with bone from my leg and skin graft from part of my leg as well.
Right.
And they did sort of a reconstruction of my face. This is the first face, and it was really, really difficult, because for 2 weeks I couldn't talk, because they put a hole in my throat through my tracheostomy, and I was breathing, so they can have space to do the surgery. So when I woke up from the surgery, I couldn't talk. I was in so much pain, I couldn't communicate. But even though when I was going through all of this, I was still very, you know, positive, and it was a very, you know, difficult period in my life.
So you did the surgery, but you coupled with prayer, you were in the faith, you were asking God for help.
Yes.
You, from what I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, after the surgery they removed the cancer.
Yes.
They removed the tumor. You didn't need to have chemo.
Yes. They afterwards as well, my surgeon he said, you're very young, I don't really want you to go through chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Because I think he was mentioning about it can destroy your face even more. It can indent it even more. So he felt the surgery went very well, that they've removed the entire tumor.
Right.
So he said, look, just recover.
Today, James, how is your health?
My health is amazing. Like after the surgery, it was surprising, because before I went for the surgery, I was very positive, and even when I went for the surgery and I was going through the whole recovery, my mind was positive. I was smiling, and it was interesting because there was a lot of people around me who was going through the same surgery as me, and a lot of them had given up. You could see it in their eyes, you could see it in their postures, and I remember even some of the people who went through the same surgery as me, like they died. Like there was one person who died in the bed across from me, and I just kept that positivity going inside of me. I was just, you know, I'm gonna make it. Because even before that, when they were about to do surgery, they told me I wouldn't be able to play football again. I wouldn't be able to run. When I speak, I will be dribbling. That my eyes wouldn't work properly. I wouldn't be able to blink. I wouldn't be able to smile. They gave me a list of 22 things, which I wrote down. 22, and I said no. I said I don't accept it. I don't accept to be dribbling. I don't accept to not play football again. And this propelled me, even with my recovery, because my recovery was so fast. I remember being in the hospital, and I just built so much relationships with even the nurses, and I was walking around. When they said, you know, rest, I said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk again. And this is what propelled me to be able to get my life back again. And today, even though my face, I still got more surgery to do. They told me last week that they're ready now to go to the next phase of reconstruction, which is
right. But it's basically reconstruction. It's not because of something left over or anything. There's no leftover of anything there. It's just a reconstruction.
Just reconstruction, right? To make it more symmetrical to the other side.
And you work.
Yes.
Actually, are you self-employed?
I run my own business.
You run your own business. You are married to the same lady, yes, right? Yes. Who is also someone who is in the faith, a strong woman of God, yes, right? Yes. How long has the marriage? You're married for how long now?
In September it will be 3 years.
3 years. Yes. So this ordeal happened 3 years.
Yes.
And you overcame.
Yes.
So I can see you're here, you're talking, you're a normal person basically. But why? James, all this is important for us to mention to the viewer, that this is not just sheer positivity. You were positive, you recovered quickly, you didn't need chemotherapy. Not because just you are young or you know, it's your personality. This is because you included God, yes, in the picture. This is strength you're talking about that you had throughout the process, then you still have. It comes from the Spirit of God.
Yes.
No one can maintain this level of positivity with so much going on. I mean, your marriage, and you have to deal with this, if it not by the Spirit of God. Yes. Am I right?
100%.
Do you agree?
I do.
Would you be able to see all this without including God in the equation?
Honestly, no. I remember even speaking to one of my very good friends that I went to university with, and he said, I knew you before, and since you've known God, I know you now. He said, if you were without God, the way you were before, I know you wouldn't be able to handle this. Mm-hmm. But he said it was because of God that I know you were able to come out from the other side.
Great. So, James, it's amazing. I know there's much more details. We couldn't talk about everything because our time constraint here exists, but I want to thank you for coming and sharing. It was a great pleasure having you in Finding Answers. You know, you are a true story of what the power of faith does when we believe, right? And I know it's the beginning. There's many more victories yet to come, right? So you see, by having a connection with God, developing a relationship with God, has a stable marriage, a happy marriage, good health, beat an incurable disease. All these things are possible if you ask God into the situation. It doesn't have to be like, you know, a 10-minute prayer, not even a 5-minute, not even a minute prayer. If you are right now going through a real ordeal, whether incurable disease or something else, I don't know, a court case, you're in serious trouble in your marriage, whatever the problem may be, and you just say, God, I ask for your help. You just mention His name. You say, Jesus, please help me. He will hear your voice. And that's why in the next segment, when we come back, I invite you to pray with us. I invite you to join strength with me and pray. And there is still time, if you want to include your name for prayer, to give us a call. We're live here, 207-686-6300. Do you want prayer? The God who healed James is also going to work in your life. We'll be right back.
Skips steering killer drones. Missiles won't reach Syria for several months. Will celebrate fighter jets to be outside.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. This is the last segment. This is the segment where we're going to pray for you who called us, for you who are watching us. And once again, it is the will of God to heal those who believe, because health is something from God. Sickness is not. Sickness is something that came later when man disobeyed. That's when death came in. Originally, our body was never meant, never designed to be sick. You see that throughout his lifetime, Jesus never got sick. Actually, he healed many of those who were sick. We have the instance of someone who was not even sure. The real issue of the time was leprosy. A person with leprosy would be an outcast. A person with leprosy would be rejected. A person with leprosy would be considered cursed, could not live among the healthy ones, had to go to these places where only lepers were there, isolated from society and everything. It was really, really a nightmare. And yet this one dares to, is bold enough to approach Jesus, and his words were, "Lord, if you want, you can make me clean." He wasn't even sure. But the good thing is that he still approached Jesus, even being unsure. So maybe there are doubts. You're not fully convinced if God wants to heal you or not, like this guy, but approach him. Jesus turned to him immediately and said, "I want. Be clean." And he was healed right then and there. He was healed immediately. So there's no question about God wanting to heal. But why was this one healed and the others not? Because this was the one who came. There were others also, other lepers and paralytics who also came to Jesus and were healed. And those who didn't come were not, because how could he heal those who didn't come? So if you want to come to Jesus now, if you want to ask for his help, for you to get well, to recover from whatever issue it is, let's join our faith now then. It's a moment of prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer concerning your family and loved ones, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My God, I want to thank you for the story we heard tonight here on Finding Answers, which it never ceases to amaze me how merciful you are. Even though we don't deserve, even though we are imperfect beings, but you still care. You care to the point of removing the suffering, the pain. You take away the burden from our shoulders. And I am in this moment asking you to do just that for this viewer who is praying with us right now. I don't know if they have their eyes closed like I do, or open, watching, looking at the screen, but whatever the case may be, please touch this person now. Touch, Almighty One of Israel. I intercede on behalf of this person that is struggling with anxiety, depression, worry, guilt, burdens that are not easily removed, burdens that can actually only be removed through your power. So send your power where this person is right now, watching us maybe from a mansion or from a shack, good place, ugly place. The place doesn't matter. What matters is the faith. The faith is what matters. So touch this person now. Take this burden off this person's shoulders. I pray for those who most evenings praying with us here in Finding Answers. Let them find a breakthrough. Let them find the answer they're looking for. Guide this person who is in need of a door. Maybe feeling like every avenue, every road is blocked, is closed. Can't see a way out, but you can, because you are watching us from a much, much higher point of view. So I bless this viewer right now. Receive healing wherever you are. Receive healing. Receive the power of God. Receive strength in this moment to fight back. The energy that James received that helped him fight back and determine that that cancer wouldn't be the end of him. Receive the same strength. Receive the same spirit where you are now to fight, to bounce back from whatever hit you and knocked you down, but not out. Because right now the Spirit of God lifts you up. Be lifted by the Spirit of God. It's the work of God's Spirit now taking place in your life. And if you believe, then I want you to say to yourself, say, I will make it. I will make it. And I bless this water for you. Let it be energized with the power of God. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, I bless it. And if you believe it, just say, Amen, and you can drink the water now. We believe that you are blessed. And once again, it was a pleasure being with you. Hopefully, the story, the real case we brought tonight of James inspired you. And remember, if you can believe, it can happen. Tomorrow, at the same time and at the same station here, we will come back again with another episode of Finding Answers, certainly bringing someone here live and also video stories that will inspire you and help you believe that with the help of God, everything is indeed possible. It was a pleasure being with you. Thanks for viewing. Until tomorrow, God bless you. Good night.